past dictates that if a star fades, it doesn't mean it never shone. I need to be much, much more than just the thing you rely on. It rains, it pours, it validates your cause. It doesn't make what I want wrong. Stand in trial, inches become miles. A true vibe, too far from. Wide awake in the halfway house, trying to stay to a hideaway. Wide awake if I don't reach home, it isn't because I don't want to. Wide awake in the halfway house, trying to stay to a hideaway. Wide awake if I don't reach home, it isn't because I don't want to.
Right, team. Welcome back to the Scratch Record podcast.
Episode 20.
Yay!
How exciting.
Finally.
Fucking 1, 2, 3. Pretty awkward in the podcast.
Yeah, so as you know, this podcast is going to be late.
Is late.
It is late.
Mm-hmm.
So we've had a lot of shit going on.
God.
Let's just put an F in the chat for everything
In the
that's
chat for
happened.
episode 20. We've been planning it for such a long time.
So many things have fallen through.
And so many things have fallen through. Like, the t-shirts were a plan for episode 20 about 8 weeks ago. And from that point, we were like thinking about what to do for it. And I just think every single plan we've had has just
Failed.
yeah,
Miserably.
yeah. Until we finally landed on an idea last week, and then we did it, and
Didn't work.
didn't work.
This is now the third time recording episode 20.
Yeah.
And this time I've actually got a good idea that's going to work.
Fucking hell, I hope so.
It is.
No,
It is.
Good. It is a good idea.
So we're now doing the Scratch Record Awards.
The first annual
The first
Scratch
annual
Record Podcast Indie Music Awards.
Yeah.
Right here.
Shit the bed. So
Yeah.
now we've actually got something for episode 20.
I hope so. Well, we haven't done it yet, so we'll find out.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah,
if you never hear this, then we know what.
Then we're listening to this back, and it's a weird like. But essentially, the idea being is that we're going to do a few awards. We've got like 3 or 4 awards to do, but we're focusing it around bands of around 250,000 monthly listeners or less.
Yeah.
Of that sort of caliber. So we're not focusing on like major, like mainstream releases. It's going to be the sort of bands that we generally speak about on the podcast.
Yeah, and that are in our
most of them are
playlists.
Playlist, that sort of stuff. And then we're going to go through, and I don't know if we want to say the ones to do it now or do it as we go through. No, we'll
What?
just do it. Like what awards we're doing.
Oh, no, we'll say the awards. Yeah.
So we've got Single of the Year. So this is to be released in 2020. So
Yes,
technically it's Single of the
yeah.
last 10 months, but... Yeah.
Single of the Year.
Single of the Year, Album of the Year, Our Artists to Look Out For in 2021,
Yeah.
and then the Hidden Gems, which is going to be a portion where we do bands that you might not have heard of, that have like 1,000 monthly listeners and less. So
Yeah.
those ones that really are low that shouldn't be. Basically.
They're like the underground, aren't they?
Proper smaller ones that we want to give a shout out to as well. So that's a general idea. We've got some nominations. We're going to have a bit of heated discussion about what we think should be the winner, and then
We actually are, because one of them we haven't decided on the winner.
no, none of them we haven't decided on the winner yet.
Oh, yeah. Let's not break that fourth wall of it.
All the people don't know. Yeah, no, and genuinely, I sort of thought, oh, bang some nominations out, and then we'll just sort of do it. Sat down to do it, and it's really fucking hard.
Really difficult.
We've got a lot of music we both like, but also a lot of music that, like, we not have different opinions on, but we just, like, it's quite nice because we don't just both, that's the best song, so it's there. Like, we sort of have a bit of discussion about it. So we've been sat for a little while coming up with these, but should be all right.
Yeah, I think so. I think we've sat for a few hours doing it, so the planning's gone into it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I take, we all slate about like the NTV awards and like the Brits and shit, and we always slate like well, why have they only picked this person to win like 7?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, 'cause it's fucking hard
It's
work,
hard
if not.
work, 'cause
like, we genuinely could have put some of the people that we tried to make sure that no one, apart from one, is in something twice.
Yeah, so they're all very. We've covered a lot of bases with it.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure like all of the nominations, like someone didn't get nominated for like everything, so they couldn't like win everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like we tried to do that, which is really fucking hard. So I understand why the big awards don't do that now, because we sat down trying to like work out what even had come out this year.
Yeah.
That was hard in itself.
Exactly. And then reducing that list down and then trying to work out a way to say it's weird with music because you're comparing some people with 100 monthly listeners to people with 200,000.
Yeah.
And that's why I tried to do the split where those they're sort of grouped together a little bit more because obviously otherwise you're going to have like the same people winning everything. So that's why I've done the way the categories work. It sort of benefits people of all different levels. So
yeah, for sure.
Hopefully that works out. But yeah, it's not as simple as just being like, oh, what songs have come out? Yeah, they're good. We'll have a winner. It was oh fuck.
Yeah.
It's gonna take us hours to sort of work through loads.
To
of
work
music.
out what has been there. Like there's been so many things that are released that are so good that we've probably just forgot about. And if we have, and there's shit that you would have been your winner, put in the comments or message us or respond to the Instagram posts that are related to that award and just let us know like what you lot are thinking, because for us it's been, I wanted to make sure that it was I don't know, as fair as it could be, and like we tried to then scroll back through, but there's only so much you can find, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. And as you say, you do forget things, and we would be, and then we'd have it, and then you'd be like, oh fuck, what about this one? I'm like, oh, that might be slightly better than that one, but realistically, we could have taken literally all of these out and replaced them with all other ones, and it would still be a good list.
Yeah, for sure.
There is so much like good music out there, so we will have missed some, and there will be some that we still haven't heard from this year.
Yeah.
We potentially love, because that's the whole point of it. So yeah, let us know who your single of the years are, album of the years, everything, who we got to look out for next year, because yeah, we don't have all the knowledge. So this is what we've come up with, but I said if we did it tomorrow, it probably would be different. So it's a bit like,
no, it wouldn't. These are the Scratch Record Awards. These are set in stone for this year. Okay, for this year they're going to be medals and.
You said it now. We've got to do it. You said it. We've got to do it.
No, there won't be medals. I'm afraid, to the winners. I do apologise.
I might make some out of like milk cartons or something.
Milk carton? Why would you make that milk carton?
Just want something you can cut up.
Well, yeah, we'll do it. I'll do it out of spoons.
Oh, don't talk about the spoons. We'll just leave that. Don't take that any further.
Right then.
Shall we begin?
Yeah. We want to start with the single of the year for us. Yeah.
Do you want me to do the nominations are?
Oh yeah, the nominations are.
So for single of the year 2020.
For the Scratch Record Podcast, single of the year.
Podcast, single of the year 2020. The nominations are The LATHUMS, All My Life.
Okay.
Shader, True to Life. The COVASETTES, Be Mine. Lucia and the Best Boys, Perfectly Untrue. The K's, TV. And KATY PEARSON, Fix Me Up. They are the 6 nominations for our single of the year this year.
They're all such good fucking tunes. I think every single one we've spoke about either... I think most of them we spoke about on the actual podcast.
I think so. I don't know if we spoke about the K's one yet.
But yeah, so they're all...
pretty much, yeah. Or they've all been in the playlist, haven't they?
Yeah, 100%.
Which is, we're big fans of all of them.
I'm caught on the wire.
Brilliant. We just got the flow. Come on.
Okay. I'm ready.
So, should we go through them in order?
Yeah, go through them in order.
So I think, the LATHUMS, I have Fight On here as well. It could have been Fight On or All My Life.
Yeah.
It could have been either of those two
I think
songs.
It's All My Life for me.
I've chosen All My Life.
Yeah.
It was their, that is technically the one they released as a single, and that's their first single with a record company.
Cool.
So it was the first one they actually did with Island Records, where they released it properly with a vinyl B-side, like The Works.
Yeah,
so I think that's quite nice to have that as their single, whereas Fight On was from an EP. So doing All My Life, that song is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. The LATHUMS are a band that have kind of rised really rapidly in the last year or so.
Yeah.
And especially with that track, that track really has taken them out of the water.
It is.
I just think for me, that track I think is the one that I always think of when I think of the LATHUMS.
Yeah.
Now, that is kind of the one for me that is their best tune they've released, apart
voice
from their new Scar one.
Yeah,
because I think now is my favourite.
It's sick.
That is the best one that's got the most recognition.
Yeah.
And numbers. If we look statistically, that's got the best numbers.
The Fight On has the best numbers. Fight On's got 2 million streams.
Okay, maybe it doesn't have the best numbers.
How mad is that though? Like, we're discussing, and we're not talking about Fight On, but like, for a band like that has been coming up 2 million streams, that's outrageous. But
yeah.
All My Leaf.
All My Leaf.
That's come out more recently, so its numbers wouldn't be up there anyway. But it is his voice on that, and it's just like that was apparently it's the first song that he ever wrote, Alex Moore.
Really?
Yeah, like his first proper song where he wrote, and then they've just got around to like recording it properly and refining it and that. But
it's very impressive.
The fact that like that's, you know,
I think that didn't get as much radio recognition as it deserved. I kind of expected that to get a little bit more.
It's maybe the timing of it as well. Like, I don't know, just...
Well, I think their most recent one's got massive recognition. Yeah. What's it? I
See Your Ghost?
Yeah. No. It was in...
Jules Holland.
Yeah, Jules Holland. That's it. I couldn't think of the last one. That, like, she's picked him up.
Yeah, which is really
sick. The Radio 2 track of the week. For her, which is mad.
Yeah. All My Life didn't. I don't know. It was one of those weird ones where they didn't promote it as much as they could have done. I don't think it was quite.
Well, it's because it's back.
It
was also because it was when it was like their first proper release on a label, so it's going to be quite hard.
I suppose there's only so much they can do, but yeah, it is. It's an absolutely incredible song.
Very good tune.
I think it just showcases his talent, and
it's a worthy single in there. It's
worthy contender. It really is.
It is.
But there are more.
There is more.
Shaders, True to Life.
Brilliant song. Even better video.
Yes.
I'm so impressed by the video because it's done. The only reason I'm as impressed by it is because it's filmed very much like a proper rock video.
Yeah.
Like it's filmed like a rock video, which is sick. But it's also filmed in 42's corridor. In that corridor that when you walk in, it's a big fucking that you walk through. That looks so
And they've got bits all around the club as well. And there is literally bits, and I'm like, I've literally been stood there, and now like his drum kit's there, and I'm like, that's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a really good video. And I think it's so fucking catchy, that song as well.
I think as an outfit that we've got on there, it's the most full single that we've got. As the most full in a sense of like, it's got cracking out EP cover, single cover. It's got a really good video that's alongside it, and it's a very polished sound. It's all three, which is something that for bands of these size that you don't really get that all come out at once. It's not like normally you get the single, a few weeks later the video. Do you know what I mean? The artwork sometimes doesn't come up to scratch as it should be. Like, I think that is for me, I think the most whole project.
It shows that their growth as well, because they've had some big tunes, and That Time Is Right is good, but their numbers haven't quite reached the level that they should do. And this one, I'm like if people don't start listening to something from this, and this is it. It's the best they've released, and it sounds really fucking good.
Yeah, that should have got a bit more.
If you're like going indie rock anthem, like that is it, like epitomizes that, doesn't it?
That sound is for sure. It really does. I think that's one of my favourite. It is
one of your singles of the year, perhaps.
It is one of my favourite releases that I've heard this year.
I was so impressed with it, and I was so desperate for it to be good, because we get like the emails from 42's Records and stuff saying they're coming, and I'm like, oh fuck, Shader's new song's coming, and I'm like, please be good. Like, I love them, but I was like, just please, like, take that step up. And then it came out, and I was like, yes, this is fucking sick.
I'm so glad 42 Records really did pick them up. Like, I'm really glad that they found them, because as a collective, I think they'll work really well together, because I know there's a lot of these like small label companies, like, you know, what's it, Golden Robot, yeah. You know, 42s, and there's some others that are also like really picking up these smaller bands, but I'm glad it was 42s that picked them up, because 42s, and I think it's the right sound. It's that real Manchester tune.
Which is Scottish, so not really relevant.
Cheers, Joe.
Next one. Another Manchester band has made the top 6. Technically, they're all Manchester bands. I mean, LATHUMS are Wigan, but it's great in Manchester. And then Shader Manchester. And now we meant
in the list.
In our 6 singles.
Yeah. Is Katy J. Pearson Manchester?
No. LATHUMS, Shader, and the COVASETTES.
Oh, I thought you meant all of them.
No, not all of them. 3 of them.
Ah.
Sorry, everyone.
Thanks for clearing that up. And then just saying, all of them.
No, as in, all 3.
All 3 that have been, yeah. Okay, breathe.
The COVASETTES, Be Mine.
Again, right.
Fuck me, that's a song.
So, single released, artwork very good, and then the video released later down the line, didn't release at the same sort of time, but very
Fucking sick.
sound video.
It was pretty much around the same time, I think.
Was it?
So when we spoke about Be Mine on the podcast, we spoke about the video.
Oh, maybe it was him.
So it would have been within the week of the release-ish.
Oh.
So I think, that's fucking sick.
That's a good video. It's not an IRL video. It's a animated one.
Yeah, and they got someone to do it, and it just looks fucking sick. No, but like they did.
No one did it.
Like they got an artist to do it.
Yeah.
And it is really fucking sick, actually. That was when it does take these singles to another level.
Yeah,
there's a lot of very, very good music released, but it does, when you watch it and then you see what comes with it and you sort of get the bigger picture.
It picks up quite a lot with it. I think a lot of people underestimate we've spoken about it before with Baby Long with Max, and he was saying like how he enjoys putting things out as whole packages.
Yeah,
and I think that's something that really is looked over. I feel like not many people do that as a collective, as a whole. They fit everything in, make sure everything is done.
It makes a massive difference because you just, I don't know, it just highlights how good the song is when you then put a video next to it, and you sort of, I almost noticed lyrics that I wouldn't have noticed because it fit with the video. Like something would happen in the video and I'm like, oh, that's what he said.
Was that the one that was picked up by BT?
I have no idea.
Have I made that up?
You might not have done, you might have done. It's on the table over there.
For fuck's sake.
What, by BT doing what?
They did like a playlist.
I couldn't tell you, mate.
Oh, fuck, I've made a claim there that really could be bollocks.
You've said it now.
Anyway.
BT picked it up.
No, I saw something on their Instagram that someone had recognised it from a fairly high
I think it did get a lot of recognition.
It got a good amount of recognition, that one. I think well deservedly, because that song is very much... I think we described it as something that was along the AM style, Alex Turner sort of level of creativity with that tune, and especially with everything that come along with it. That they had all the overlays for all their pictures that came out around the time. Yeah. All of their tour stuff is done around the artwork from that.
It all was related,
and it all is related, and it all is very noticeable, especially for someone like me that I like that stuff. Like I like seeing where it comes from.
It's all part of the big picture.
Yeah, for sure.
As you say, that song is like, I think we said at the time, like Arctic Monkeys type quality song.
Yeah.
Coming out of a Manchester band that are, have not got the big gigs and they're big, but they're not,
they've not got the recognition they deserve at all.
And this song like really, really does hit the heights of someone like Arctic Monkeys and like some of the releases they had, and I'm like, fuck, this song is so good.
Yeah, it does really hit the heights of stuff that is radio ready, and also it being something that could not look out of place.
Definitely.
Or in the charts. Yeah. Like it wouldn't look out of place if it started being played heavily on the radio.
Not. Yeah. I think that's the big thing with like all of these singles we've got in here, is that like they're all of that caliber where like if you saw them in the top 10 of the UK charts, you'd be like, you
wouldn't be surprised.
That deserves to be there, and like it wouldn't look out of place on any radio or anything, because it's just so polished and sounds so good. But it's definitely, and we keep saying it's definitely one of my favourites in this year. That is the point. But
that is the reason.
That is one. I was looking earlier at like my most played in the last 6 months to like get a gist of like what I've been listening to, and it was like
Dunkirk theme tune.
Yeah. What? Why? Have you been listening to the Dunkirk theme tune?
No, I just thought it would be weird.
That would be weird.
Yeah.
It's probably quite good though.
I don't know.
Could be. No, I think this was only second to All My Life though.
Really?
So yeah, my top two were in here. So it is like one that I've
really,
like, you don't get bored of it. Like sometimes you listen to those songs and you're like, yeah, okay, like I've listened to that. Whereas now it comes on and I'm like,
I got you. Yeah. I find that it takes me a minute to like understand whether I really like a song or whether it's something that can just is played and then I like it for a couple of weeks. But when I keep going back to it, and like that is for sure one of the songs.
Yeah.
What's next?
Lucia and the Best Boys, Perfectly Untrue.
Is it Lucia or Lucia?
I'm saying Lucia.
It's St. Lucia. Spelled the same.
There you go.
I'm going Lucia. But anyway.
Lucia sounds nicer, but
yeah,
I haven't actually said Lucia. Don't know.
Okay.
Get it another one like the COVASETTES when I just managed to say that rather than the COVASETTES. So. Don't know, can't pronounce anything.
But anyway.
Perfectly Untrue, fucking world.
Brilliant song. Brilliant song. It's in the playlist at the minute, and it's one that I normally just shuffle the playlist, but I make sure I play that one first.
Yeah, like every time.
Every time I start with that track.
And then you're like, yeah, I do love that song.
Because I can't...
Unbelievable analysis.
That for me is the spotlight track of the year for me. I think that track is something that I look at and listen to, and I think, shit, there ain't much better at the minute. There ain't much better at the minute coming out of the indie rock and alternative scene that sounds that good, that well polished, and also that and that radio ready, I guess.
Yeah.
And it's had that recognition from people like Jack Saunders and people like that, which is
class.
Really, really sick, and it should be, but it's just missing. Like the recognition just isn't there. It's unjustified. It should be there. That recognition should be there, but I guess that comes with popularity. Doesn't it?
It's so unique as well. Like, you know, I love that classic indie rock anthem tune that we've got that like COVASETTES and Shader are, but like this is like so far removed, and I quite like that it is something very different that's come out of the scene, and it's something that like
it's very alternative, isn't it?
Yeah, it is very alternative, but I love that, and it is different, but as you say, it still maintains that quality. Like sometimes things they try and be alternative for alternative's sake. Sometimes you think just strip that back and like chill out, whereas here they've done it in a way that like there is a lot of tropes of normal like indie songs, but they've just done some things you go, oh, that's a bit different.
And her voice is beautiful. Her voice is gorgeous, and I think that for me that's something that's really important within all of these tracks, is that their voice is so distinct and like have their own twang. So if they were going to make it big, they have that recognizable voice that for me is really important. And she fucking nails it. Because it's an incredible voice, and it really does sound I don't want to say perfected, because it's not like an Adele or a Lana Del Rey or it's not that sort of...
It's a bit rawer than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's much rawer than that, but it still sounds so true to her in its own way.
Plus, releasing that song, like we were saying earlier about their Good Girls Do Bad Things, and how good that was. And
what the fuck? I wish, right, so that would have been my single of the year.
I prefer this one.
Do you? No, see that single for me, the one that she released, it was last year with that band, and that's hence why it's not in the playlist in the awards. But that is, I think, something where she's been obviously what's the word, influenced by the 80s. Very obviously influenced by like Blondie and that sort of style, and I think you can really fucking hear that in that. But then to go from that to this,
that's what I was going to say, is that evolution to this. Like, I personally preferred this one, but like they're both so good but both so different, and that's why I like when they got this. I was like, fuck, they've shown a whole other side here, and it still sounds fucking brilliant. So it's like, yes, I
absolutely
like that. Class tune. The next one I definitely can pronounce, the K's, with a song called TV, which, you know, for the K's, they were big like 20 sort of 18, 19. They had a lot of big releases, and I listened to them a lot. And then they hadn't released anything for like second half of 2019 and all this year. And then it was like last month, it was like September time, they just dropped this TV song, and it's really, really fucking good.
The voice, again, back to voices, but it's so distinct on that, and it's so genuine coming from him. Like, it is such a... Almost you can tell he's not pissed around with his own voice too much, and he's not trying to be something that he's not. He's very much genuine in who he is. And that fucking track, TV, is something that when I'm at work and I've got my headphones in, I do actually sing along to. I would probably really piss off. I'd probably really, really piss off my colleagues. But like, I'm like stacking some shelves, like TV.
It is so good.
Mate.
And lyrically, I think they're one of the best bands around. Like, genuinely,
in that realm, for sure.
So smart with their lyrics, and I always thought that listening to that Sarajevo song, which was an older one, but like it's got so much more to it. And like when you actually listen to what he's saying, I'm like, fuck, that's so clever. Like, when you really listen to his lyrics, it's something that like, it does add an extra element, because like you listen to the song a few times, you're like, that's good, and then when you actually really start listening, you're like, that's fucking clever.
Really clever,
that's
yeah.
worked really well there. And, you know, we can hardly pronounce words when we're fucking speaking. And he sings some things and I'm like, how's he even sang that word that well?
Yeah, how many attempts has he taken to do that? Because it wouldn't be the first time for me.
Hard. No, innit? Like, I do find that amazing. And so lyrically, they're brilliant. His voice is class. And they have such a fast pace with it. And as you say, it's just one that does get you going. And I was just so excited. Like I said, I loved them. And then you hear nothing for like a year. And then they just suddenly come back, and I'm like, oh yeah.
I think it's just the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah,
but
of course,
I think that
it makes it even more like exciting. Because when it came out, I played it so much because I was just like, yes, I've missed the case.
Yeah.
So it's absolute class. They're really good.
Yeah, that one of my it's just one of the tunes of the year, and it's just one of the tunes of the year that's been through the playlist.
Definitely. And then the last one, Katy J. Pearson, Fix Me Up. You found Katy J. Pearson, didn't you?
I did, yeah. So, I am a big fan of her. I found her, to be fair, through the Jack Saunders show. And I think it was Idols were on an interview and they, like, suggested Katy J. Pearson as, like, one of the tracks. They, like, did, what's it called? Like a artist takeover or something like that. Well, the artist picks, like, 5 tracks and they speak about their new album, stuff like that. And this was one of the women that they then kind of like highlighted and said they think is going to be fucking brilliant. And I caught onto it driving about and I thought... Driving about
aimlessly?
Yep. Yeah. Just decided what tree to ram my car into.
Post-work meals.
So, but this came on and I don't think it was this track that came on. I think it was the... Oh my God.
We were literally just listening to
radio.
Yeah.
Anyway, the most popular track that they've released. It's got the most listens on Spotify. They're like number one suggested tune. But this is the one that I found that I enjoyed the most.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it's one of the most unrecognised tunes of the year that's been released. That this Fix Me Up we put in the playlist a while ago, and it's got such good sing-along characteristics to it. Her voice is incredible and does have that
different though,
but it does have that polished sound though. It does sound very well rounded and very well she vocalises everything incredibly well.
Because the way that she uses her voice is quite unique, I think. Like, her voice is very, very polished and very good, but she's not like an Adele way. She just it's used really subtly. Like, she doesn't really go... And
she adds in a lot of layers of her own voice, which I quite like, having the different layers of backing that with that Fix Me Up when she says up at the end of the chorus. No. There's a couple of layers on that, and if there isn't a lot of layers on that, there's something incredible with her voice, because that is, for me, vocally one of the most impressive singles that I've heard this year.
Wow. We've got to pick one, Elliot. We've got to pick a winner.
Oh, I know my winner.
This is so hard. It's really hard. I can't see past the LATHUMS because I just think the quality of everything they've released has been so high, and All My Life is there.
Yeah.
Like, then their greatest song. I just think not a lot comes that close to it.
Yeah. Well, I think it's LUCIA and the Best Boys.
I know you do.
For me, it has to be. You know, the tracks in this, the nominated tracks are all so fucking good. But as a tune that I go back to and listen to very, very regularly, the LUCIA and the Best Boys has to be it for me. And I find myself listening to that song a lot.
Yeah.
And constantly going back to her voice and her catalogue and the Best Boys catalogue, not just LUCIA.
See, I do love that song. See, my personal single of the year would be All My Life. Like, it's my last 6 months is my most listened to song.
Yeah.
But that I'm going to say LUCIA now because I think it sounds nicer. LUCIA and the Best Boys.
It'd be really shit if it's LUCIA.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, I was right then, so it's a win-win. That because it shows something so different, I don't mind it being the single of the year.
You don't mind it? You're such a cunt. No, that is the single of the year. No worries about it, no doubts about it. Yes,
but
the
I do have
LATHUMS
doubts, is what I'm saying.
The LATHUMS is very, very good. Don't get me wrong. All of these tracks are very, very good.
Be
but
Mine could be mine as well.
Yeah, I think I listen to Be Mine more than I do the LATHUMS all my life. I think on a scale, for me, it'd probably go LUCIA, the COVASETTES, LATHUMS, K's, Shader, KATY. Maybe. If I was going to do them 6 in order of how my listened, you know, initial enjoyment of when you listen to it the first time round, I'd probably put LUCIA, then Shader. For like that initial like wow factor.
Yeah.
I think that'd probably be there for me, and then the COVASETTES.
Yeah.
And then KATY.
COVASETTES, that Be Mine song is so good. I literally, that is, fuck, it's so hard.
It is hard.
It
but
is
it's
so
LUCIA and the Best
difficult.
Boys. That is the
I
winner.
agree with LUCIA because they are doing something that no one else is doing. And I think the LATHUMS are doing that as well, but it is more similar to the other bands we've got in there. And so because I couldn't pick between like the LATHUMS are class, COVASETTES are class, K's are unbelievable, all those songs are so good, but LUCIA just has that slightly different edge.
Yeah.
So that is the single of the year
That
sticks out.
That is the standout single of the year, I think.
Because it is doing something that you can't compare to, and you can't even really compare that to True to Life.
Well, we have.
Yeah, I know, but like that's why I'd put it in that little bit above, because it's like you can compare the others and say, like True to Life and TV, they have very, very similar things that you can go, I like that, but like Perfectly Untrue is just like its own completely different thing that you can like put above and say they've done something there that's different, and so it's the best.
There you go then.
But
it is.
And it is. We've come to an agreement, but yeah, it is.
LUCIA and the Best Boys. Congratulations, LUCIA. And your Best Boys.
All the Best Boys.
And the Best Boys that are with her. That track is our single of the year. It's a Scratch Record.
Scratch Record Podcast Single of the Year 2020 is Perfectly Untrue by LUCIA and the Best Boys.
Approved.
Bang! Right. Next, I feel I've been going for like an hour already on the first one. How long has it been? Can you see?
Half an hour.
Has it?
Yep.
So sorry, everyone. I'm really sorry. Album of the year, then. Let's wrap up.
Let's do this one quickly because the next one's going to take a little bit longer.
Scratch
It's the
Record
one we haven't
Podcast.
decided.
It's taking longer. Oh, I'm so
Come on.
The Scratch Record Podcast Album of the Year of 2020 nominees are
Yes.
Sports Team, Deep Down Happy. VISTAS, Everything Changes in the End. ZUZU, How It Feels. Red Rum Club, The Hollow of Humdrum. The LATHUMS, Fight On EP. And City Lights, Rock and Road 2.
Yeah.
They are the 6 that we've picked out. And we are including EPs as well, we've decided. So we've got the album.
Well, album
because of these
extended
bands,
projects.
it is actually quite rare for bands these size to be releasing albums.
Yeah.
So we've counted EPs as well, which I think is fair enough. And I think you should rattle through them quite quickly, more quickly than those. Sports Team's album.
Yes.
What a fucking unique.
Brilliant album, very unique, and obviously got the recognition it deserved. That hasn't. I'm rattling through it like I'm on fucking sniff.
Yeah, not quite this quickly, Elliot.
I think that album got the recognition that it deserved, and I think that's one of the reasons we had to include it for sure, because it had that radio recognition, it's had the chart recognition, it's had everything that it needed, and it
They've
actually
been dubbed
warranted.
A little bit like the saviours of the scene, in the sense of they've like in the media, because they've got that mainstream recognition. They're sort of then like people are then finding other bands through them who wouldn't normally be stumbling across indie bands, and I quite like that about them. I do think they are sort of taking the mantle of that sort of we're doing something very different, very edgy, sort of weird rap, guitar, indie music with like interesting lyrics, songs about fucking fishing and the M25 and whatever else it is, and like it is really different, and yet it's getting mainstream attention, and I think they're being like fucking brilliant. Now we're going to take that and like try and spread that as much as possible to other things that are a bit more indie, a bit different. So I really love that about them, and that album is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they did the beer as well.
Yeah,
do like that.
It was sick.
A little bit expensive, but I can understand. It's nice. I think it's a good
beautiful.
idea.
And
brilliant
their
idea.
socials are sick. Did you see they took on that breakfast challenge that Pete Doherty did?
No.
Do you know there's like a really like iconic picture of Pete Doherty like looking really unwell with a huge tray of breakfast, like massive. You probably would recognise it.
I'd probably recognise it.
There's like he looks really, really like unwell, but he's like halfway through this like challenge breakfast. And it's quite funny. And I think it's in Margate. And
Margaret.
one of them from sports team went and did it.
Oh, love.
And couldn't finish it, but they did it on like Instagram live.
Oh,
and people were like
that's
getting in and
class.
cheering him on and be like, "Go on!" And he was like looking for tips and stuff. And
That is good. Dip
then
it
they,
in
like-
water or something, innit?
yeah, it was all that sort of stuff, and it was actually really funny. Couldn't finish it. It's fucking massive.
Yeah.
But then loads of people were like tweeting them about it, and it went around. But I love it's just I don't know. They've got a real sense of community.
Yeah,
when they
for
do
sure.
things like that, and
Because they've got Discord as well, haven't they?
yeah, and a WhatsApp group chat.
And a WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Fucking unreal.
It's sick. Like they're
So
really
sick.
on it with shit like that, and
I think as a band to be doing stuff like that, I think is really important. And for them to have the recognition they have, I think is very key.
deep down,
Very
happy,
key.
fucking class album as well.
Brilliant album.
Musically brilliant.
Yeah.
Vistas, Everything Changes in the End. Another really fucking brilliant album that's come out.
Yeah, class.
You put like 18 in the playlist, like one of the first, like the first playlist.
Yeah, I did. I really enjoy the Vistas. I think they're a band that have swayed now towards more mainstream, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
But I think it's come out really well for them. They're very much like a they've had the same effect of when they've gone mainstream. It's like when the 1975 went mainstream.
Yeah.
In that sense of it become just a little bit more
Yeah, a
alt
little
pop.
bit more poppy.
alt pop more than indie rock. Like
Yeah.
18 was a bit more indie rocky.
Yeah.
So like I think for me it's made a change for the better for them. I think it really suits his voice, and I really think it
The
suits their
quality
band
is
outlet.
so high. Like they're one of those that like every song they have is like an 8+. Like they don't do shit songs. Like
Their
and
album, the album is unreal as well. The album is
really
unreal.
good.
I think it's brilliant front to back, and I think
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with sticking that on
not
and
a bad
just
song on
sticking
there.
that on shuffle.
Yeah.
You know, I'd
good
like.
vibes.
Yeah, it is just good vibes. I think it's a class album.
Yeah.
Class album.
ZUZU, How It Feels EP,
Again,
fucking class.
what she's doing again is so unique.
Yeah.
Like Lucy and the Best Boys is a very, very unique play through. I really struggle to say that.
Her, I think it's her like attitude about like you just really get a sense she doesn't give a shit about
Yeah.
anything, and she's just like even in like lyrically in the songs and just in general, she's very like
I find it really sick just that she can do that. I think it's, you know, the levels that she puts into the tracks, the one that we've got on the playlist at the minute, towards the end when she gets that male vocalist to, what's the word, when you harmonise. That's
yeah.
it. Yeah, when you harmonise with it. And I think doing stuff like that really adds that layer of technicality to your
Yeah.
music.
Yeah.
And I think for me, that EP is one of the better EPs that we've seen from a up and coming female artist in the last year, for sure. There's, you know, you see a lot of up and coming artists that have come through that have released really, really good EPs, but this one is very standout.
Yeah, it really stood out for me. Like I think she is the female artist that I listen to the most by far. And I think this EP, it did show like, again, I listened through it and then really struggled to pick one to put in the playlist that week. So I heard it and was like, fuck, like I love that one.
Need to input something from her.
Yeah, like one of those has to go in, like, but I was struggling.
Just
I'm
can't
like,
pick
fuck,
which
they're all
one.
so good, and like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
landed on that one, so I was just like, I just listened through, and I was like, yeah, that's fucking sick. I've got to put it in. But like, as an EP, she's shown a lot of different talent in that, a lot of variety in it, but she does have a real sound that's very recognisable now.
Yeah.
And I think she is one that when she does release like a full album, it's gonna be
very, very widespread. I think that one. I think it suits a lot of crowds, and it's a nice EP.
It is. Next, Red Rum Club, The Hollow of Humdrum.
Yeah.
Now,
I
this
can't
is
say-
fucking brilliant.
I can't say a bad word about the Red Rum Club. I think they're a brilliant outfit. I think they're a class band. I think that, you know, everything they're doing for themselves in that realm, especially with this new album that's come out, I think it's incredible. I think the artwork's incredible. I think the fact they did a live gig outside of the Vinyl Whistle in Leeds,
that looked sick.
that was class.
Yeah.
And I just think this album, for a band that is big but not huge, polished, very good individual songs.
Yeah.
There's again not a bad track. That's how I always judge an album, on whether it's a good album or not. There's a difference between good album and great albums, but great albums are ones that you can play front to back and never get bored.
No, literally.
And I think this is a great album.
Oh, it's a great album. It's I was so blown away by it. So I love them. And then when they released, because they had like Ballerino, Eleanor, like all these songs out, Kids Addicted, before it came out. So there was, you sort of knew. And I think I said on here when we spoke about Ballerino, I was like, now they've got like 3 or 4 out. I was like, if their whole album is this good of the 4 that they've already got, it's going to be the album of the year.
It should have got.
And then it came out and you're like, yep. If anything, these songs are better than Ballerino.
I really do think these deserve more recognition than they're getting, because I wouldn't put them any lower than like the LATHUMS.
No, definitely
and they're
not.
like big recognition now. So I think for me, Red Rum Club are a band that you need to keep a fucking eye on, because soon come they're going places.
Yeah.
And also fucking sound lads,
really class lads, really class, really good online, like responding to fans, responding to everyone, seem really down to earth with it, and just have a great atmosphere in it. It is something so different as well, like the way they incorporate I don't even know, trumpets and like all these.
It's such a unique sound.
Like they've really fucking, like, we speak a lot about bands, small bands trying to find their sound.
Yeah,
they fucking have it.
Yeah, they know
have
their
it
sound
like to a T, and they've released this album where they've perfected it.
They've nailed every fucking
level.
Every release that they've done on this album. I know it's I know it's one release, but like every track on this album that's come out, I think is stuff that you can't ignore. No. As within the indie scene, like they're a band now that are making so many waves, and they're waves that should be being made.
They're one that like if people said to me when they don't listen to indie music and they're like, do you recommend? I'd say like the LATHUMS and Red Rum Club. everyone will like them, because they've got something in their music that everyone will like whether it's like just anything from like football hooligans to like 13-year-old girls. It's like anyone's gonna love
vast,
this. They've got something for everyone, and they nail that. So I'd just be like, everyone should listen to the album front to back. And I don't think you'll get many people say finish it and not be like, fuck me, that's
not
good.
be impressed by it. It's a very, very sick album. I think that I've loved. I want them on.
Yeah, me too.
I want them.
We'll be in Liverpool soon, boys. Don't worry.
Yeah. Fucking when the COVID's gone. The COVID.
The COVID.
When the COVID's gone,
it's just gonna
disappear.
But speaking of the other band, the LATHUMS, their Fight On EP is the next one.
Yes.
Now, again, I feel like we spoke about them a lot in the single, so we don't do it as quickly. But they
as in depth.
In depth.
Yeah.
As not quickly as was what I actually mean. Deary me, Elliot.
Come on, Joe.
Yeah. So they had 2 like separate EPs, and they combined both into like a big release with both EPs on it, like a vinyl release and this stuff. So including that. So I would say it's like The Great Escape and all those songs, Artificial Screens, Vanilla Victorian, and then they did Fight On and all those songs as well, and they're all included. And fuck me.
Very good.
If we're speaking of like quality, that's like every single song on there is like
very good quality.
Unbelievable.
They are, we've
massive
said so much about that. Such a good range, such a good voice. For me, that would be my album of the year if their most recent single was on it.
Yeah.
Because I think that diversity will have really taken them above anything else that's been released this year.
But then that new single will be on their debut album probably, which is going to be...
Their debut album's going to be mad.
Fucking huge.
Their debut album's going to be mad.
Like, we've included this because it's EPs, and it's still... The fact it's probably... Like, it is my album of the year probably, and it's EPs. Like, that sums it up. But when they do drop a debut album, like, so far their singles have been All My Life and this new Scar one, and you're like, fuck. So yeah, they're just incredible. They're different range, the variety they've got, quality of what they've got is sort of unparalleled. So yeah, unbelievable.
Yep.
And then last one, we've got City Lights' second EP, Rock and Road 2. Which was released this year.
Again, very
fucking
unique.
Brilliant. So unique. Like, really doing something different. And they've got like 5 songs on it, and they are all really different. But like Rockstar on there, and Nation of Ravers and Elevator.
Nation of Ravers is my favourite track they've released.
So good.
That is my favourite song they've released. I love it. I love that track. I think
have such a vibe, don't they?
It's I think his vocals on top of the music really do set them apart from a lot of other bands at the minute. So on a sense of diversity, I think that is something that's very, very important.
Yeah.
I think on a sense of it being so different to everything else being released, like we were saying with Lucia and that sort of stuff. I think this band again is something that could really have its own crowd and its own unique fan base. That's like, yes, it might not be the best album of the year in a sense of like it's not going to get all the sales and get that, but I think for fans of that music, it will be their favourite album.
That's massively what they've been, I think, because they're very, very vocal on social media, which I really like, but they are one of those that probably they do split opinion more, and they wouldn't be one where I'd recommend them to anyone. But if you catch the right person, they'll be their favourite band of all time.
If they like the streets, if they like the streets, get on City Lights. We have a mate of ours that big Streets fan, Jacob, who found the City Lights and loved it. Like,
he wouldn't normally listen to
this type of music at all, like indie music, really, apart from the Streets, if you can class that as indie, and he loved it. And I think that's what I mean by, in a sense of like, they're not going to be,
they have a smaller fan base.
They're not going to be Billboard #1 album for 10 weeks on the trot, but they're going to be
the fans they have
are going to be such diehard fans for sure. They are. That album, I think, is brilliant.
And I do like having it on vinyl, listen to it on that. It sounds fucking. It sounds so good on there. I know I will love to see them live as soon as we can.
Oh my god,
because they'll be fucking sick.
Everyone on this fucking list, if you want to send us tickets.
Or just try and get a gig on.
Or if you can get like a social distance gig on, or to be fair, even if you just send us a pre-sale link, we're going to fucking buy them, so we'll be there.
Just come play in here.
I mean,
Scotch Record Live Lounge is on the way, I reckon, so. We've got to make medals and do live lounges now, fuck. Oh God. Right, okay. The question is, Elliot, which one is our album of the year?
Mine's Red Rum. Sorry to throw it on you like that.
Do you know what? I think mine's Red Rum as well.
Really?
And this is weird because we actually agreed on one before, which was not Red Rum. So it's quite interesting. But having spoken about it now and really broken it down, basically I think it's between them and the LATHUMS. And that LATHUMS EP is so good, but as you almost said, I feel like they're on a trajectory where their debut album will be the best album. I think if it comes out next year after, that will be the album of the year. When it drops, it will. And they are my favourite band, and I fought for all my life in the singles and didn't get it, and now I'm sort of going to fight for this, but fuck me, that Red Rum Club album is good. And
Red Rum Club, for me, has to be the album of the year.
I tweeted out when they dropped it, I think they've just released the album of the year, and I think I'm going to stick by that now. That I think they did. And
for sure.
As much as I will have listened to those LATHUMS songs more than anything else this year, and will continue to do so, it is 2 EPs that I think are the best EPs ever, and they're so talented. But that is Red Rum Club's whole album as a piece, as a bigger production, rather than a collection of releases that the LATHUMS one is. It is an album, and it has a feel to it all the way through, front to back. I think it has to be the album of the year.
Yeah, big up the Red Rum Club.
So the Scratch Record podcast album of the year 2020 is The Hollow of Humdrum by Red Rum Club.
What a fucking album.
Come on.
Such a good album. Such a good album. Such a good band.
Boys. Yeah, can't wait to meet them. Artists for 2021, Elliot. So
this is a. I'll tell you what. I'll read these ones out.
Woohoo!
I feel like you've read them out.
Oh, you feel a bit of a co-host.
Yeah, I feel like a co-host, and I don't like it.
Do you want to explain?
So I'm going to explain what it is. Yeah. Don't worry. So for this category, this is going to be the artists that we think that you lot need to keep a fucking eye on next year. Yeah. Because whether they're going to be in their own realm, the popular band in their own world, but I also think a lot of these will get much more radio recognition and much more chart recognition. Yeah. In a sense, because I think there's a lot of new indie music in the scene coming through, and I do think 2021 is a big year. It's going to be a big year for indie music.
I think so.
So this is going to be the one that these are going to be the bands that we think are the next bollocks. Mm-hmm. They're going to be the next big things. Yeah. So these are our artists for 2021. The nominations are Crawlers. Yeah. SALPA. The Rascaltons.
I think they're just called Rascalton.
It is Rascalton. It does even say that on there.
Yeah.
All right, Rascalton. Garden, the Crooks, and Panic Shack.
That's a fucking list.
They are our nominations. So these are really hard. I'm not going to go in order. I'm going to go from the back because I think it'll be...
Go from the back. Cool.
To change
As everyone says, from the top, from the back.
Going from the bottom. So now, the first one we're going to talk about is Panic Shack. Okay, so incredible pop punk female rock band.
Yeah.
Beautiful. They've only got 3 singles.
Yeah.
All done incredibly well. And all 3 have this trajectory and have put them on a path to keep releasing some really arrogant, political,
They've got attitude.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that attitude. And I think, I think that's really put them on a good step to see where they can go and see where their next steps will be. Because as we've seen, and as we'll talk about a couple of times with a few of the other bands, people like Idols and Fontaines DC are paving a really good way for a second wave of punk music.
Massively.
So I think this harder punk like Panic Shack, because I think it's more of a harsh sound than Fontaines and Idols, but I do think Panic Shack are a band that you're going to have to keep an eye on.
I actually think their newest one's my favourite.
Really?
You know the one, and I can't remember what it's called, but they just repeat the same words over and over again.
I don't like that you did that.
Yeah.
Or I don't like...
You did that. And they just do it. The one is about 10 words in the whole song, and they just repeat it, and it just builds and builds. And then it just slaps on a chorus at the end, and then it just sort of dies down again. But I'll have it on in the car, and I'm like, yes, I like this.
Where is my
really
lighter? Where's my lighter? I love that. Is lyrically, I know that punk music's never going to be like... No. It's never going to be the, I'm trying to think of a very lyrical... Like Paul McCartney.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's never going to be like that sort of level lyrically, but I think that is something that catchiness and everything...
It's that... The whole, sort of atmosphere that they sort of drive up in the music. You can't help but listen to those songs and be a bit fucking...
Buzzed by it. Yeah.
Like energy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this is sick, and I love that. And they are, as you said, the fact that they've only released 3 songs, and the way they're going with it is that if they carry on like this time next year, they'll be that sort of female band to take up to that level of Idols and that because it's not really knocking about to that extent, and they'll be the ones that can sort of hold the mantle in that sense.
I hope so, for sure. And I think Panic Shack is definitely one of the ones for me, 100%. We've then got the Crooks, who we are massive fans of on this podcast.
Huge.
And it's actually, I'm gonna put this out here now, this band is actually one of the reasons we started.
Yeah.
Do you not think?
Yeah,
because I remember when we were first talking about it, the Crooks were a band that earlier this year, we'd spoken about doing something for a long while, but earlier this year we realised when we heard the Crooks that we kind of found a knack for finding good up and coming bands,
because they were tiny.
They were really small when we found them.
They've got some recognition now, as when we were first talking about them. It would have been like before Christmas last year. They are just around the release of Nevermind last year. They'd be one I was like sending you and being like, fuck me, mate. And they've got like less than 1,000 monthly listeners. They're fucking sick.
I think
they're one that
I think kind of edged us to start what we're doing now and giving a platform for these type of bands. And I think for me, I think the way the Crooks are going, and especially the fact that they released their orchestral EP this year, I think shows such a creative piece behind that as well. So the Crooks, the songs they're releasing and the way they're going, and the almost nostalgia that they bring back with it does get back to that 90s Britpop sort of vibe. I've
said before, and I do stand by it, some of those songs could be on Definitely Maybe and would not look out of place.
100%.
If you told me that Noel Gallagher wrote In Time or She Walks Alone, I'd believe you. Like, it is, and they're not like an Oasis tribute band. They've got their own thing, but there is natural comparisons because they do have that sort of vibe. But those songs are of the quality, and there's a lot of bands that try and emulate Oasis. there's not many that do it very well because it's risky, because Oasis were fucking good, so it's hard
very good.
If you're gonna try and do it, you've got to be fucking good as well, and these are the only ones that I've seen like emulate and use them as big influences and sound just as fucking
very good.
And that is like so impressive. So yeah, they keep going the way they're going, and you know, get another EP out, because they had one out a while ago.
Yeah,
they haven't had a recent one, and keep going the way they've been going with In Time and She Walks Alone and that, and yeah, they'll be fucking big.
For sure. Right, so then we've got Garden.
The boys.
Campai, a good friend of ours, who has also been on the podcast. If you haven't seen that one, check it out. But the way they are going...
They've made moves this year, mate, so if they do it again...
The reason that we've put them on this list for the artists for next year, and, well, my main reason for making sure they're on here, has been that... Oh, sorry.
And it just beat me.
Is finding... Oh, you've now thrown me right off.
You're the one that punched me, right?
I just knocked my watch on you. Should be lucky that I knocked my watch on you. It's a blessing.
Oh, my God.
So they released Love Me to Death this year.
It did.
And it's on 130 something.
It's on like 160. I think
160.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So that's had some massive recognition. Annie Mac played them, and I think that has stepped them in good places. But also, a lot of their other tracks are now sitting around the 40 plus mark, which is crazy. When we were talking to them earlier this year, and they were saying that their almost goal was to have something over 10,000.
Yeah.
So to see them being multiple steps ahead of where they want to be, I think is something that is really positive for them, and I think it shows such a good opportunity for them to now next year, when the gigs come back, touch wood that they do, when all that comes back, I think is going to be really important for them. And I think once they start doing that and getting feelers out and being shown around the country a little bit more and being listened to by newer people and stuff like that, I think is going to be,
because they've been smart this year. Like
smart.
They've not sat and like released Love Me to Death and been like cool, and then maybe like not done anything for a bit and then released a similar song. They've just been slapping tracks out that are so different each time, and as you say, like they're so different, and yet you look and they're all getting such good response. And I think that's why they're like gathering such a fan base, is because you're almost then getting fans of different genres all pulling together to listen to them, because they're doing so many different things. You're not getting like, I guarantee a lot of those streams on those different songs are different people. And I think that's how you do well to gather momentum, because if you do build a loyal fan base that listen to every one of your songs, that's brilliant. If you get that loyal fan base on each separate song and they're all different people, that's when you've then got fans all over the country, and all over the place. Then be fucking touring in all different places.
And once they know like one song, say they were a fan of like Help Help or Blue, say they were in that sort of side of it, they'll go and see them, then realise that Love Me to Death is still is an incredible tune as well. So even if they'd only listened to it because it was, you know, on our playlist, or it was played somewhere else, and they heard it through that, and you know, they'll see them live because they recognise the name, they recognise the tunes. And I think they're going to be fucking important to keep an eye on next year.
Next year they're going to be big. They keep going the way they're going, keep releasing, keep up with their socials, which have been really good. Yeah. All that sort of stuff, and hopefully get some fucking gigs going around the country.
Absolutely, man.
This time next year they could be
very, very important.
They're a big one. Yeah.
So, Rascalton.
They're fucking sick.
I love.
Yeah.
You know, I think if they release maybe a little bit more, I think the quality they're releasing, and again, what I was saying about Panic Shack, about Fontaines and Idols and people like that, paving the way, and like almost even to like Slaves as well, like really paving that way
for the grungier
for a grungier like punk. I think there really is there is a market for that at the minute, and I think that if they keep going the way they're going and releasing more and more, I think we can really see some good things going from Rascalton. I really do. And I think also the Scottish indie scene, you did a poll on Twitter. The other day. And I do think Scotland's scene at the minute is really fucking good. It just
finished behind Manchester in the poll in the end.
Did it?
But only just like a couple of % in it, sort of thing. And big time. Like, bear in mind, like Liverpool were on there, and then I just did like other. And Manchester and Scotland had like most of the votes between them. But I think like for Scotland to be holding their own in that sense is mad, because it's never been something that you think of Manchester and Liverpool and Leeds. You don't necessarily think of Scotland as much, and then now you're like, fuck it, all the new bands that keep popping up online, I'm like, oh, they're fucking Scottish again and again and again. And I think up there they're really getting a grip on the indie rock, the grungier, like punky rock, like they're doing all of it really well.
Yeah.
And Rascal are probably up there with the best Scottish bands that we're listening to at the moment, but they're not up there with, you know, some of the bigger bands. So like numbers wise, and that's what I think, if they do get caught onto this time next year, they'll be.
Yeah, they should be anyway. I think they're a
gigs
brilliant
is big
band
for them as well, because like their gigs
atmosphere
sick, so the fact they're not getting that's probably why they've not
holding them back. I mean, that's the reason that all of these are being held back to the level that they are at now. I think a lot of these would be in a different place if they were gigging, but at the same time they might not have released as many singles. So who knows?
Swings and roundabouts, mate.
But I think RASCALTON, another incredible one to watch for next year. SALPA,
the boys,
the other boys, they and girl.
Oh fuck! Every time,
Joe.
Every time.
Seriously?
I only actually did that because I said it for Garden. I thought it'd be funny. So that was fuck.
Don't go red, Joe.
I wasn't even going red, and now I will, and I hate it when people do that. That's a real bugbear of mine, you know, when people say that. I hate that.
I know, that's why I said it.
You prick.
I'll apologise on your behalf. Meg, I do apologise.
I really do apologise. That's twice I've done that. She fucking hates me.
She does hate you.
Fuck. Up the boys and the girl.
No, big up SARPA.
Yeah.
Everyone in that band, I think they're fucking incredible.
Yeah, they're
and I think if they didn't have Meg, I don't think they'd be anywhere near where they are now. No. I think when we went and saw them live, I think the stuff that she brings to that band, I think, is unbelievable. We
spoke about LUCIA on the last podcast about them live, and how when we were watching them, like what she brought, and they said when they were on, like they feel like they've been SARPA for the last year rather than the few before it, because until she came in, that was like, it wasn't quite there, and it did feel a bit like they were really, really good, and then they sort of worked out that like final piece of the puzzle, and now it's like, fuck. And they are really fucking good now.
Absolutely. And I think on consistency basis of like getting very good numbers off the bat straight away, and getting very good radio recognition from the likes of Jack Saunders and people like that, I think SARPA are really going to be a band to keep an eye on next year. If they keep slowly growing momentum, they're not doing it in the same way that Garden are, in a sense of getting different groups. They are slowly building that core fan base that is starting to actually follow them and start really listening to their stuff and being excited for their giveaways and their, you know, tuning into their lives and stuff like that. So I think I think they're definitely a band to watch. Really are. I think SALPA, big up
this time
them.
Next year they could be massive, couldn't they? They're really good.
I really am looking forward to seeing where they're going, and when the gigs come back where you can have a bit more of an atmosphere, I think that'll really help them.
Yeah, massively.
And last but not least, the final nomination for artists to watch in 2021, our artists for 2021, is Crawlers. Which, if you don't recognise the name, you should. They're in our playlist. The track Placebo is there. They actually have only released 2 songs.
Yeah, which is mental.
Both have slapped.
Yeah.
Like, both are incredible tracks, and both, for me, really sound like something that should be listened to more. Even though they've done numbers straight off the bat, they've done really, really well. One's on a couple 100,000, the other's on like 30 or something. They've done really incredibly well. I do think that they are so important. Yeah, I think they're going to be very important to the scene, especially on that darker, grungier rock. Yeah, again, similar. It's not punky. It's more like grunge rock. It's more like Nirvana-y type rock. And I think her voice over the top of it makes it very special really and very, very unique. Again, I think it's a very distinct sound, because obviously you got the Nirvana and things like that have that male vocals over the top that is that grunge, typical grunge. But I think Crawlers has its own spin on it that really is impressive. Yeah. And they keep releasing fucking things that are doing numbers like they've done this year. I think that's the thing, isn't it? Why they've fit into this category for us is because they've done 2 songs, both that are class, but like to have that level of following that are around the same as these other bands that we've got in here. Offer 2 songs. That have, like, Crooks have about 15 songs, and we're going years, and
Crawlers are getting similar like monthly listeners and similar like excitement about them, and they've got 2 songs, one last year, one this year. So if they release 3 next year, like who fucking knows where they could blow up to? And as you said, they've really like got a bit of a grip on that niche of how they sound. Like I don't think there is much else like it about. And it is so good, it's so unique that it's, as I say, if they do get a few songs out, they'll be flying next year.
I think that Crawlers are my outsider. You know, and like you stick your bets on.
Yeah.
I think that Crawlers are my like
dark horse
70-1 that I'd like stick it on the Grand National because there is definitely an opportunity.
Yeah.
Not as likely as the rest because their upload schedules probably not as strong. But I think if they really do turn up next year, they could be.
So
be
are they category. Your artist to watch 2021?
They're my outsider to watch. They're like my like. If it goes in their favour, they could win. Do you know what I mean? You know, like when like on the National, there's like 50 horses. They're like my 100-1.
But I don't want you backing down and picking 2 choices.
No. Okay. So, fuck.
I don't want this. Oh, it could be them. It could be them. Who is your choice?
This one's the one we found really difficult. Even just picking these, we found really hard.
And we wanted in the same sort of realm numbers wise, between like 5 and 15,000, and that realm there's hundreds of bands we could have picked to be in here. God yeah. I back Garden. I think if I was looking at them, I think the Crooks have a chance to be fucking huge.
Yeah,
I do. I think they could be one they are like they're mainstream worthy. My worry with the Crooks compared to someone like Garden is that variety. I wonder if they released 5 songs next year, are they all going to be In Time, She Walks Alone style songs? I mean, Silhouette Sunshine is a bit different. They've got it in them, but I hope they go for it. And if they do release like another EP or even an album, I hope they show some variety, and then they could. But I think the fact that Garden have already shown that, I think if they keep going and being as smart as they've been and keep releasing to the quality they have, for me, they will be the one that next year take that step.
I'm fucking torn. Because right, so Panic Shack I love, really love Panic Shack. Spoke about the Crooks so much. Garden I think have probably the most potential, and then SARPA, and then Crawlers, then Rascalton.
Fuck.
I think so. I'm going with Garden's my number 1, but as a close second and third, I think is SARPA and Rascalton.
Yeah, I agree.
For sure. And then, as I've said before, Crawlers is my dark horse, my outsider. That you know, if we were going to split, we were saying about like if we were going to if you got your bag, you had your money out, and you're going to the bookies, and you're going to put on who is going to have the best sales next year.
Who you putting your money on?
Who you putting your money on? I think I'd have a couple of pound each way on Crawlers, and I'd stick 20 quid on Garden.
I like that.
I think it'd be how I'd you know, I think that's the way I'm going.
I think if
SARPA, if they keep getting the radio recognition,
they could be huge.
They could have some really, really good tracks.
They'll suit outside of Northampton so well as well. Like I just think they've got such a vibe that like they'll go down to London, do a few gigs, and they'll break it, and they'll be big there, and then they'll go up north and they're doing stuff that like is a bit different to what's going on up there, and they'll break that, and it's like all of a sudden they could just be big everywhere.
It's alt pop, isn't it? It's not like indie rock. It's alt pop, and I think that's what I really enjoy about SARPA. And I do think SARPA are my second favourite.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they are the second favourite.
It goes Garden, SARPA, Crooks for me.
Okay, yeah, fair.
And then I think then Crawlers, Rascalton, Panic Shack. I do love Panic Shack. Like the reason why it's a top 6 is that even though they might be 6th, they're still in my like top 5-6 bands that I think next year could really do it for sure. But, yeah, I think that would be my order. But I think Garden are those ones that I just think.
Wow. The Scratch Record podcast artist to watch next year is Garden. And actually, you should know, I don't like if you'd seen the post about our t-shirts, the track that we used for that was Garden's Halfway House. Yeah. I dubbed it a little bit, mixed it up a little bit. I had to cut a few things out of it to make it to like mix it up, but Garden.
Yeah, so you might recognise them from Our promo video, which everyone should have watched 100 times.
But yeah, Garden.
Up the boys. But big honourable mentions to SARPA, Crawlers,
RASCALTON,
Crooks.
Panic Show.
Big shout outs because they will be big and we love all of them.
Yeah, big shout out to everyone. And they are, just watch them all because I'm telling you, these are our bets for next year. I might actually see, can you do that with bookies? That like one of these will have like a top 40? Can you bet on that?
Like you'd have to like
request a bet on Sky Bet
and be like, yeah, what would you give me that Garden are going to have a top 40 single next year? I don't know if they would. I don't know. I literally have no idea. But I think it is a thing. There was like a thing where someone requested a bet.
Oh yeah,
someone
for sports team.
Yeah,
I saw people requested a bet for sports team to get top 10 next year.
Yeah, so you can do it, but I don't know, mate. Give it a bell. But yeah, that would be the one that I'd choose.
Well then, so Garden's the artist for 2021.
Beautiful. What is the last category, Elliot?
Our last category is Hidden Gem.
Hidden Gems.
Hidden Gem. And Hidden Gem is a category where we are discussing bands that are really, really underground.
Yeah.
Like we're talking under 500 monthly listeners sort of size, under 1,000 monthly listeners sort of size. And they are bands that to watch next year that they aren't going to be, they might be, but they're slowly growing their self and slowly formulating themselves. I think this is, that most of them have only got a handful of singles and stuff like that. I think these are the hidden gems, and if you haven't heard them and you're only hearing about their names for the first time now, go check them out and go look at their discography.
Sure.
So our first band in this category, our first nomination is the Slow Time Mondays. Slow Time Mondays, which are a band that we've actually spoke about quite a lot and was, I think, when we did the track for the weekends. They were our first track for the weekends.
Were they? Yeah.
I think they were. Feels Like 96.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's called Feels Like 98, is it not? Oh dear.
Anyway, that one was definitely it because I remember doing the edit for it.
There you go. Oh, I can't wait to fact check it. She likes dancing.
Yeah. Anyway.
I mean, we only did 2, so it's quite impressive to be 1.
Yeah, so they are a good fan favourite here.
Yeah, that She Likes Dancing track has been a fan favourite of mine for fucking ages. And I couldn't... They're one of those that I always listen to, and then when we started this, I actually looked at them and was like, they had like 52 monthly listeners. You know, when you're like, I assumed they had like 20,000.
Yeah, I assumed they had more.
From the quality of the song, I just assumed. And then when I looked, I was like, what the fuck? Like, all their songs have less than like a few thousand streams. And I was like, oh shit. I was like, actually, this is a fucking brilliant discovery.
Yeah.
They're class and no one's listening to them. So they should have 20,000 from what they already have.
Yeah.
I don't know why they don't, but you never know. You never quite know, do you? So that's why we want to give them that shout on here. But they've got a lot of good songs. They released Sweet Life this year, and that was another fucking brilliant track that sort of took them another level. And they haven't released anything since then. I think it was about April, so I think they need to, I'm not sure what's going on with them, they need to get back on it, but we'd like to big them up. And they're one that if you haven't checked out Slow Time Mondays yet, they're another one that I think most people would like. Like they're one of those I'd recommend them to anyone. Like She Likes Dancing is a track that anyone should listen to. So
for sure. The second nomination is Cosmonauts.
Cosmonauts. This was your discovery, I think.
It was.
So I had it on my lap.
No, it's not. It's still full battery.
Right, cool.
Don't know why that happened.
Weird.
Yeah, there you go. That's technology for you.
Yeah.
Cosmonauts. These were actually not my discovery. I'll hold my hands up.
Wow.
I know I might have falsified that in previous podcasts.
Probably have.
But these are a band that cameraman Chris showed me.
Oh, you did not tell me that.
Yeah, cameraman Chris.
Wow, you did take credit for that, and it was Chris. That's shocking.
Cameraman Chris, we were sat one night watching the football, I think, and we were just flicking through his Spotify, and these came up, and I was like, cheeky. Cheeky. But the Cosmonauts, I keep putting the in front of everyone.
You do that for a few bands.
Yeah, I do. I really piss myself off doing that, so I'm sorry for everyone that's listening. Cosmonauts, they are, mad. Mad. I can't, that we had a track in our playlist.
Yeah. What Did You Expect? It's called.
Yeah, I think so. They've got some brilliant tunes. They've just released another one within the last couple of days, I think, weeks or something. Yeah. what's it, 22nd? Yeah, I think it released on the 9th.
Yeah. So.
Which is very, very good. So they're a band that are another very hidden gem.
Yeah.
They're a hidden gem. Right. A new band that we found recently.
Yeah.
Echoes from Liverpool.
Echoes Liverpool. They're class. They're so good.
Very good.
And again, another one that when you put them in the playlist and I heard it, I was like, that's fucking good, that. And then I looked into it and was like, what the fuck? Like, the numbers are so low and you just can't believe it. But it's a travesty that some of those songs have got like less than 1,000 streams.
A travesty.
It is a travesty.
It's a travesty.
It's shocking. Like, I'm just like, why? Like, what the fuck? But they're a big hidden gem.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And they've only got an EP out, and the whole EP, front to back,
it's class.
It's fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
It is very, very good. They're a band that I think that they keep releasing stuff and they keep going the way they're going, and it all sounds like that and that quality. There's a lot to say for them.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but they're another hidden gem that we have. Boys of the podcast, Baby Lung.
Baby Lung. They got
Max Riley.
On. Yeah.
Who came on episode
14-ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
Class.
Yeah,
they're really good. And again, another one where like you know, he speaks about it a lot, but they started up very slowly. Took a year before they released anything. And then did an EP, which I thought was really, really good. And then I feel like just recently with like Falling and So Minds, they've really nailed the sound, and it's obviously timed quite badly with COVID and everything that it hasn't taking them numbers wise where they should be. Because I think with that EP they're sort of about right, and then we're falling like, okay, like this is a level above. And then when they released So Minds, I was like, yes, that's one of my, you know, that would have been close to being in my singles of the year.
Yeah,
I think really good. So I think if they could have ridden that wave without COVID, obviously it would be a different story. But at the moment their numbers are relatively low considering the quality of
for
So
sure.
Minds, so
Absolutely, I think that they're something that really should be seen by more people.
yeah,
So
they're a real gem.
hence why they're in the hidden gem section.
Indeed.
So we've also got 2 more nominations.
Yes.
One of them being Hot Minute.
Hot Minute.
Which
Good find.
I found them like last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, a couple
2
weeks
weeks
ago, I
ago.
think.
Episode 19, I think I spoke about them. Their single Drive is in the playlist at the minute. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Another alt pop band that, fucking hell, I love these. I think they're a brilliant trio.
Yeah.
They work really well together. They seem to know exactly what they're fucking doing.
Yeah.
When it comes to the whole outfit of, you know, they've done two singles, 1 EP, 2 singles, something like that. But half Drive is like blue colorways.
Yeah.
The previous EP was red colorways, so polar opposite colors. But on their Instagram, you can see when they're doing the promo for each one because the colors change very drastically from everything from the themes for their shoots,
the whole aesthetic like matches.
Yeah, to everything they're wearing. So like their most recent one's almost like we said about it being like Totally Spies, but it's almost like the Tron sort of style,
like
you
that
know,
sort of like 80s neon lights. Like,
yeah. Which I think is brilliant. And the previous one was more of like almost like American Horror Story sort of style. So very like darker. Red. Yeah, I think they're brilliant.
As you say, it's not like they're dropping songs for the sake of it. It's like everything they do has been thought about, and
they're all art projects,
planned,
aren't they?
and they're all sort of bigger projects. And we said at the start of this podcast that's a big thing. And for a band of like that's a hidden gem that's lower numbers to be showing that at such an early stage of like, so I think they've got 3 songs, and that's it. So to be at such an early stage and already be having these ideas of like, as you said, everything's matching, all the colorways are in sync, and there's a whole aesthetic and like story behind what they're doing, and you're like, okay, fuck, but they're doing all that, and there's only a few hundred people listening in, then you're like, fuck, like everyone needs to get on this because it's really sick.
Absolutely. So it's something that we think is just like unwarrantedly underground. And also Black Tiles, which their track Leave was in the playlist 4 weeks ago, sort of time.
A while ago.
But again, very, very small amount of listeners, but tracks are unreal. Very similar to Crawler's sort of style. a bit of a grungier rock.
They've got one I can never remember what it's called, and I really like it. And it wasn't the one you put in, but it was a different one.
Something Miss Margarita. No, Miss
Margarita pizza.
no, Miss.
It is something like that.
It's something like that. It was Miss Mojito. Miss.
Definitely not Mojito.
Oh my god, it's something like that.
It's a vibe.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but I love that track. That's really good. I love them. They're
really impressive.
You listen to the quality, and I'm just like, fucking hell, like.
Yeah.
This is like chart quality music, and there's like no one listening to it. Like, where is everyone?
Yeah, why are you not heard
like,
yet?
get on it. So, big hidden gem they are. Like,
absolutely. And I think this is my favourite category that we've got.
Yeah, well, I think it's the whole vibe of our podcast has always been, as you said, like about the Crooks. We started it because we just found a lot of bands that should have had more people listening to them.
Yeah,
and we
for
want
sure.
to try and give that a platform.
Yeah.
And so that's now what we're trying to really do with this is like say these people like they need more recognition.
Absolutely.
If you only check 6 like artists out from this podcast, they'd be the 6 you'd want you to check out.
Yeah, 100%.
They're the ones that need people's support and need you to check it out and share it and get involved.
And they deserve it, I think, as well. I think they really are 6 bands that if, our followers on Instagram, the 350 of them would actually make a massive difference to their sort of... I don't know what word is. Yeah, their numbers, their statistics.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it would affect them, and I think that's what we're trying to do with this, especially is that hidden gem section is my most important. I think our most important section. And
as we found, like it's that original growth that's the hardest. Like people always say, your first 500 followers will be the hardest, and then you'll get to 1,000 easier than that, and then getting to 5,000 is easier than that. And like we're aware of that and going through that at the moment. Like in those numbers, just keep ticking along, keep growing.
Yeah.
But it is a graft when you're doing something like that, and you've just got to keep going. And I think that's why it's important for us to be like almost give the message of like keep going, please. Like keep releasing. Like don't get disheartened.
Absolutely.
Please, all of these bands keep going, and like we will share as much as possible and do whatever we can. But like unfortunately, we don't have
as many as we want.
The following of BBC introducing, otherwise we could probably help out more, but we're doing our bit.
Absolutely. But hidden gem, who is your hidden gem, Joe?
I think we spoke about it, and I think we're in quite a lot of agreement. I love all of them, and I think the only one that sticks out for me is Echoes.
Oh,
I think they're fucking brilliant.
We came to... I was very torn with this. The one that we agreed on was definitely Echoes as being like our hidden gem that we found recently that is probably the one that we go back to the most. But I think also the alt pop of Hot Minute is a very, very, very close second. Yeah. Very, very close second for me.
I do also think Baby Long are one where the reason they're not my hidden gem is mainly because they're not ads. I think Echoes, more people will like them almost. Like as we spoke about earlier about the difference between like
distinct
the Crooks and City Lights, or whatever, Red Rum Club and City Lights. It's like Baby Long are another one where they're not going to please everyone. They will get a fan base that fucking loves what they're doing. The sort of like indie jazz scene, and I think they're doing that so well. The quality of what they're doing is so good that I think they are a big hidden gem for me. I just think Echoes have that little bit of they're a little bit more mainstream in the sense of like they are just an indie rock band, but they're just such a high quality that they're a hidden gem.
Absolutely, and I'm going with Echoes. Yeah, it's got to be. It's Echoes or Hot Minute for me. Yeah. Hot Minute
are fucking class.
Are incredible, but I think Echoes might take the biscuit on this one. Just very, very slim. So the scratch record hidden gem of 2020 is Echoes from Liverpool.
Class.
Well, there you go. That concludes
the inaugural. Is it inaugural? Inaugural.
Does that not
scratch record?
Does that not
first or last?
Does inaugural not just mean like inauguration? Like what's the thing where you get your presidency?
No, that's not inaugural. That's when you get like sworn in.
Yeah,
that's a different word. I can't remember what it is either.
It's inaugural, isn't it?
I thought
Anyway.
inaugural was just the first of something.
Don't
Get
know,
me wrong,
but it's
what,
the first.
ever Scratch Record, the annual Scratch Record podcast award ceremony.
Yeah. Or whenever we run out of ideas again.
Yeah. There'll be one next week.
No.
But I enjoyed that. It was good, and I
really
hope
enjoyed
that
that.
you all agree with our picks. But
Yeah, and it's a
also-
more positive vibe than normal. We normally pick something to rip a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think
Yeah,
that's
nearly did.
that is something that I think is very important. I want to keep doing that.
Yeah, I
for
enjoyed
sure,
that.
for sure.
And there's been a lot of good music come out of lockdown out of this year. There's been a lot of top releases, as we've discussed, and a lot of stuff that people might not have heard of, but we just want to give our little like seal of approval almost and be like, this is where we stand with it and what has stood out from the crowd, because it's a big crowd at the moment that we've got.
It is.
It's a lot of music. So if we have spoken about it in here, it is a bit of a like, for two people who listen to a fucking like hundreds and hundreds of bands and stuff.
Yeah.
These ones that have stuck, these are the ones that have that level above for us. So
Yeah. And if you disagree with us,
which I hope you do, because it'll be interesting.
on Twitter, respond to the posts about each awards and tell us what your award, who you would give your award to.
Yeah.
Because just let us know, because these are the ones that we found, and you know, if you come through with bands that we've not listened to, we will definitely be checking them out, and I think that'd be brilliant. If you disagree with our opinions, let us fucking know.
Yeah, please do. Be as aggressive as you want. Like, just DM us and be like, "You're fucking stupid." Like, it's fine. Elliot can look at it, so I can have it.
Yeah, joking, hack it. I'd steer clear of it just for that reason. Look, I'm trying.
I'll just kick back, definitely let us know, 'cause I think that's the whole point of something like this, is that it's interesting to see people's opinions, and
Yeah, and if you haven't seen that we've got t-shirts out, we've got t-shirts out at the minute, and I think you should buy one.
Please. Mainly just because we really like them and are proud of them, so we want people to have one. So we're just pushing it as much as possible. Again. All the links are in our Instagram and Twitter. It's pretty easy to find, they're pretty easy to buy, and we think they're pretty cool. So
so
check them out.
Give the video a like if you're watching on YouTube. If you are on the podcast apps, any of them, leave a review. If you're on one that you can leave a review, let us know what you're thinking about us at the moment, and I hope it's been worth the wait.
I hope it's been interesting,
hope it's been worth the wait. So that concludes the Scratch Record Awards, and we'll see you in a year's time to do these again.
Yeah.
Hopefully with a tie on.
Yeah, with a tie on a live audience.
I might put a tie on next year. Treat myself.
You should have just put a tie over that t-shirt.
Right. Anyway, we'll see you on the other side. I hope you enjoyed. Peace.